So we are here today. Um, this is out on Friday night when I'm released from new YouTube jail because YouTube wanted to be crazy and put me in YouTube jail because they got mad over a Scottie Pippen video that I did, basically calling him an a-hole because he had the nerve to call out the GOAT Michael Jordan and basically me and the Windy City Productions have to resort to doing this. So, um, if YouTube's expecting an apology, no. My opinion on Scotty still stands. He is a asshole for what he did to Michael Jordan, and obviously wasn't around to watch the Jordan era or any of the dynasties for that matter. So but I know that Jordan was a great player back then, and it was just the team couldn't get out of the first round because they were losing to the Pistons. So I agree with Scotty saying that Jordan didn't win anything before Pippen went there. But what really threw me off saying that he called Jordan a horrible player, basically saying that LeBron James is the great, which any typical analyst would say that LeBron's better than Jordan. So you probably saw Pippen's video. So what are your thoughts on it? Because honestly, and please don't say anything that gets me in trouble.
Okay. I'll try my best. I mean, you kind of said it best, right? It is kind of based on jealousy. Like, I think that Pippen, he probably always felt that he didn't get the proper recognition in Chicago, especially after the Last Dance documentary, which is when all this started. After the Last Dance came out, which was in 2020, I think that's when Pippen kind of started complaining about, him not getting the spotlight, not getting enough recognition for being like a big part of the championship teams, which is true. I mean, he was a big part of winning the championships with Michael Jordan, but it is kind of confusing like why he's so upset right now. As opposed to like when he was playing with the team, right? Like when he was playing with the team, he was not, talking about this stuff at all. Like he was a selfless guy. He was like, team first and always putting the team first. But it seems like after the Last Dance came out, he's just been totally off in the mind. I'm not totally sure what happened to him. Maybe personal stuff going on off the court as well, which obviously played into all this. But it is kind of stupid. I mean, obviously we all know that Michael Jordan is the GOAT, the greatest player of all time, and Scotty was a big part of helping him too. But not sure why he's like this upset at Jordan right now. It's kind of funny to be honest to watch this, but it's also kind of sad too because you're watching two legends kind of go at it. Well, I mean Jordan isn't saying anything back, but like Pippen is bad mouthing his right hand man for basically no reason. So it's kind of stupid.
Yeah, that was wrong. I mean, I wasn't around to watch, but I did watch some highlights because my parents were around back then, so it was my
Yeah,
uncle.
same.
They do say that Jordan was a great player, but the Bulls I was watching in the Derrick Rose era, and I mean to tell you that Derrick Rose was a phenomenal basketball player in my lifetime because he is my favorite current Bulls player. The Bulls right now, I'm wishing that it's kind of depressing because nothing right now with the Bulls currently is going to take away uh, prime Derrick Rose days from what they are right now. Obviously, we were all fooled by AK, which it's pretty hard to say his name, so we just call him AK just for short. But did you really think that AK was going to be, reversing, like resurrecting the Bulls from where they were at now? And basically it was all we all know it was all a lie when he first came in here. So what are your thoughts about that?
No, I agree. Like, I actually thought he was going to turn this stuff around. I mean, the first year it was going really smoothly. Like, we had such a good record. We had the first place in the NBA through the first half of the season in 2021. So it was starting really strong. I mean, we had Lonzo Ball playing really well. We had DeRozan playing really well. So at the beginning, I actually thought that this might actually be the time that we turn everything around and get back to being a good franchise because that's what it seemed like early on. But then Lonzo Ball goes down with the injury, and it seems like everything kind of just collapses after that. And I don't want to blame only Lonzo Ball's injury for that because obviously so many other decisions that AK has made has played into us not being a good team right now. But it kind of sucks because like again like another point guard having knee problems is why we're not a good team anymore. I mean that's a big part. Like even last year, if we had Lonzo Ball healthy, like I think we could be maybe the fifth or sixth seed then in the NBA, in the Eastern Conference, which still would not be great. So you still only be like mediocre at the very best. But it does kind of sucks that Lonzo went down, and it seems like also trading for Nikola Vucevic is also turning into not a good decision whatsoever. I mean, the Magic got two pretty high picks from us. They also got Wendell Carter, who Wendell Carter isn't doing that well, I think, but still, like that was not a good trade. The DeRozan signing also was decent, but it's like he's not going to turn the franchise around. So it's kind of disappointing right now. We also don't have any picks, right? Like this year, we don't have any draft picks. We're hoping to get a lottery pick, like the top pick, like the Blackhawks did or like the Bears did, but that did not happen. So it's kind of unlucky. We got unlucky, but it's also been a lot of bad moves that AK has made as well. So we'll see what he can do in the future. I mean, I don't think he's going anywhere, right? Like he's not going to be fired within the next 1 or 2 years because they kept Garpax here for like what 10, 12 plus years. So like they're not going to move off of him anytime soon. So if you're a Bulls fan, you just kind of have to hope for the best basically, right? Like he's not going anywhere right now.
Honestly, I'm looking for a rebuild, and that starts with either trading our assets to acquire the third pick because the NBA finals, depending on what happens on Monday, which I can believe it was a crazy game. I thought the game was over and then
Yeah, that was insane.
but
Last second.
going to the Bears, it was since we know teams that don't know how to lose right or don't know how to rebuild right. The Bears have done rebuilding right. I said this in many of my videos. Ryan Poles has done more in 2 years than what Pace has done in 4 or 5 years. I don't know when he came in the office, but I just want to say, if I was a casual and I watched your prediction video and I basically would call you stupid because how I would say how would a team with the first overall pick go from 3 wins to 10 wins with just having a quarterback that we don't know if he can be good, if he can be bad, or if the because we saw what teams do in the offseason. Some teams that go all in, the Broncos did last year, but I think that was mostly Nathaniel Hackett was mostly because they thought that they were getting Aaron Rodgers, or the Raiders trading for Devontae Adams, getting pieces around Derek Carr, but they still have no defense. And if I was basically a casual fan, I would probably say you're stupid for thinking that the Bears which I think the Bears can have like 10 or more wins. But if you were on a show like, I don't know, Colin Cowherd, because I saw you did a reaction video to it,
Yeah.
just like if Colin Cowherd saying, why do you think that the Bears are going to win 10 more games despite um going having all these great moves, and we have to see how it pays out. And going back to the DJ Moore, he's a great receiver, but actually this was a good point. The Bears have had great receivers: Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, Allen Robinson, and still, but I think that was mostly because of mediocre quarterback play. But just why do you think that we can win 10 games despite what has transpired last year?
Yeah, I mean, last year we lost, what was it, like 7 games by one possession or something like that? Like, there was like 7, 8 games last year that we lost at the very last second, or because of a bad call, or because of somebody just messing up, right? Like, there were so many games like that last year, even with having such a bad roster. And the roster this year is not even close to what it was last year. Like, I know we still have major holes at certain positions. Like, we don't have really good edge rushers right now, but we can still make moves at edge still. So if you look at the roster on the offensive line is much, much better, I would say, right? Like we got Darnell Wright in the NFL draft. We added Nate Davis. Sam Mustipher is no longer here in Chicago, thank God. Look at the receiving core, obviously, DJ Moore, like you mentioned. Chase Claypool coming back is, yeah, that's a big thing too. Like I know Chase Claypool was here last year as well, but he didn't get much time to actually, gel with Justin Fields, get practice time, get a hand of the playbook and all that. So Chase Claypool is basically a new receiver, I want to say too. And we also got Tyler Scott, Roshan Johnson, Deontay Foreman. So just on the offense alone, we added so much. And if you look at the defense, we also added so much as well. Like in the NFL draft, Javon Dexter, Zach Pickens, you got, Demarcus Walker, you got Tyreek Stevenson, you got some guys coming back, from last year. That were pretty impressive rookies like Jaquan Brisker, who hopefully can become a superstar this year. So you just have, such a different roster this year. And with Justin Fields hopefully taking another step up in his development, like I think that 10 wins could easily be the case because if you also look at our schedule, we have one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. Like there's not a single game on the schedule besides for the Chiefs that I feel like we can't we can't win at all. Like we don't have any chance. Like the Chiefs game is probably the only game we don't have much of a chance because the Chiefs are that good. But aside from that, it's like it's a bunch of easy teams, and even the NFC North is not going to be as good as it usually is. Most years. Like I mean, the Lions are probably the favorites to win it, and the Lions have not won the division since like 1992 or something like that. So it's been 30 years since the Lions won it, and they're the favorites right now. So like that tells you a lot about how bad the division is right now. About how much the Bears might have a chance to do something this year. And I mean, like I keep on saying, a lot of it depends on Justin Fields. Like if Justin Fields is as good as we're saying he's going to be, then 10 wins could easily be had. I mean, we could even have more wins, like 11, 12, even more, because we've seen it happen in the past where if you have a good quarterback, if you have a good team around him, like we can see a 2018 type of thing happen where 2018 Trubisky was not even that good. I mean, with the surrounding supporting cast he was, but this year we actually have a quarterback in Justin Fields who alone I feel like is more talented than the Trubisky was. The defense is not as good as 2018 was, but I feel like the offense is much better than 2018 where we could win 10 games. I think it is possible.
Yeah, going back to what I said earlier, DJ Moore, which I was surprised we got DJ Moore. I thought we were training with the Colts, but we were in the hour of we were in talks with the Panthers. I was like, something to keep an eye on because a part of me wanted the trade to happen more quick because I was tired of hearing Bryce Young in a Chicago Bears jersey. I was tired of it.
Yeah.
I was annoyed, and I remember I had to do I don't know how you say that reporter's name, but I did a reaction video to him when he was on the Adam Rank podcast, and I'm like sitting there, and people were in my in the live chat saying that dude, he's capping. So, but I was tired of hearing the Bryce Young talk, so I'm like, dude, just can we just trade this already? I'm tired of it. And then we do trade. I'm like, the Panthers. I didn't know we got DJ Moore when I saw the notification. So I was looking for the trade details, and I was expecting three first round picks from the Panthers, 2 second-round picks, but all I see was 2 first-round picks, 2 second rounds, and a DJ Moore. I was like, wow, we completely fleeced the Panthers. And I remember going on stream, and because I was celebrating, and he brings up a good point. The Bears did have great receivers, prime Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, Allen Robinson, and the Bears still didn't do anything with those receivers. What would you say to a casual fan that tells you, "Oh, just because you got DJ Moore doesn't mean anything"? You guys had prime Brandon Marshall or Alshon Jeffrey, and still you didn't do anything with it. If I was a casual, how would you say it?
Well, if you look at Justin Fields, he's much more talented than any other quarterback we've had in the past, right? Like Jay Cutler was the last great quarterback we probably had in Chicago, and most people only view Jay Cutler as being average at the very best, mediocre. I mean, Mitch Trubisky had a lot of flaws. He didn't have a good deep ball. He didn't have a great arm at all. So, like, if you look at all the quarterbacks we've had in the past, like we have not had the right quarterback to capitalize on having good receiver talent. And if you look at Justin Fields, like at Ohio State when he actually had good receivers to throw to, that's when he went off for, throwing for 3,000 plus passing yards and having those crazy touchdowns. And, 30 plus touchdowns a year. So we've already seen this quarterback succeed with good receiver talent before, and he just never had that at the NFL level. Like at the NFL level, he's only had Darnell Mooney as his main guy. I mean, 2021, I guess he had A-Rob kind of, but A-Rob was he was taking off that year, right? Like A-Rob was a shell of himself in 2021. So you just
Well, he's a
cannot.
show. He's a show right now.
Yeah, he's shell of himself right now. I mean, he's with the Steelers, I think, right? But
Yeah,
like,
he's with the
yeah,
Steelers.
yeah, they traded like I think a seventh round pick for him. Like that's how low his value is right now. So like you can't really even say that Fields had A Rob because A Rob was not A Rob that year. So this is gonna be the first year that we're seeing Justin Fields with NFL level talent on the football field, which is gonna be fun to see. And like you said, like we're gonna see this year if he actually has what it takes to take the next step up and be a franchise quarterback for the Bears.
And the NFC North, which you said that the Lions would win the division. I think when the Lions win that division, the sun will literally get big and destroy all the planets. That when the Lions win that division, that thing will happen. The whole world would end. But any team that has like when we say rebuild, it doesn't like I know that you probably know a lot of Packers content creators, Matt Ramage, Tom Grossi, and while Tom Grossi's realistic than Matt Ramage, but I think Matt Ramage is a troll. So they don't like the word rebuild because rebuilding, it's just, it it bothers them a lot because they don't know they're going to go through it. They don't know what they're in for because trading Aaron Rodgers, probably their best quarterback of all time in their history, I would say that I think that they are going to rebuild. And Jordan Love, let's just say, I'm not going to talk too much shit about Jordan Love because God forbid we do it now. The next thing that he takes a snap, he becomes Patrick Mahomes and throws 50 touchdowns. But it's kind of it's I don't think that Jordan Love is that dude. He's just not that dude. He was worse in college, but he was a first round caliber because of that 2018 season that he had in Utah State, where he looked like he could be a potential top 5 pick, but he dropped because of interceptions. But it was a shocker when the Packers took him. It was a clear shocker because they had an MVP quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. And basically, I feel like if Jordan Love was that dude, if Jordan Love was that great, they probably would have traded Aaron Rodgers a long time ago. They probably would have traded him to the Broncos right now.
Mhm.
But I don't just like the rebuilding thing with with some Packers fans. They just don't want to hear it because they act like rebuilding doesn't change a franchise. I mean, look what it did with the Chiefs. Look what it did with the Bengals. The Bengals have been tanking for long. They had Andy Dalton, who will hopefully get the Bears top 3 pick this year because he's on the Panthers. But I think
Yeah.
Bryce Young will start. But going back to what I was saying, that rebuilding can change a franchise when you lose, and it requires putting pieces together. But they just don't want to hear it because they're not used to rebuilding. So they're arrogant fans, I should say, very arrogant fans. So, what's your overview of the Green Bay Packers without Aaron Rodgers? Do you think that they're gonna do what they did with Brett Favre? We know when they drafted Rodgers, Rodgers turned into a superstar, even better than Brett Favre. And do not whatever you say, don't say too much because otherwise Jordan Love might watch this and take it.
Yeah.
Pull Michael Jordan, take it very personally.
Yeah, like you said, I'm not gonna shit talk Jordan Love too much because he could turn into anything. Like you mentioned, he could still be a good quarterback because we just have not seen him play that much at the NFL level. But just being realistic, like I feel like most realistic Packers fans are not expecting much at all from the team this year because Jordan Love is not Aaron Rodgers. Like he's not Brett Favre. I mean, if in camp we saw Aaron Rodgers back in 20, what was it 2008 when he took over, or was it 2010 when he took over first year, whatever.
It was, I believe, it was wherever year Brett Favre retired, which was right around
Yeah,
2008.
Yeah, so whatever year it was, like 2008, 2009, whatever, like during that year's training camp, like you heard, rumblings of Aaron Rodgers being super great in practice. Like you're hearing, stories about this crazy, quarterback going off in training camp and practice, like threading the needle and like making these crazy throws in practice. But you just do not see that with Jordan Love. You never heard anything about Jordan Love being good in practice whatsoever. Like the only, good play we've seen out of him was one quarter against the Eagles last year and like down the stretch. So I mean you kind of said it best. Like Jordan Love has not done anything so far at the college level or at the NFL level to say he is even close to Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre, who have tortured us Bears fans for so freaking long. So again, I don't want to be too cocky, but like I'm not worried about the Packers right now because even if you look at their team, the supporting cast around Jordan Love is not even close to what it is for Justin Fields. Like the receiving core, I mean, they have Christian Watson, they got Romeo Dobbs, they got some solid, maybe solid number two options. I think Christian Watson could be a number one if he continues off of this, the pace that he was on at the end of last year. But like obviously, I'd take DJ Moore over Christian Watson. I'd take Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool over the other guys they have there. So from a weapons perspective, the Bears finally have better weapons around Justin Fields than the Packers have around Jordan Love. If you look at the offensive line, the offensive line, Packers probably still have a pretty decent offensive line, but if you look at the defense and like the Packers defense, their fans were yelling at Joe Barry all of last year, and Joe Barry is still here, employed by the Packers. So I know they added like Lucas Van Ness and some other guys in the NFL draft, but it's still like I feel like it's still like a very mediocre defense right now where you're not deathly afraid of the Packers defense either. So, if I had to guess, like the Packers, I think are going to be finishing last in the NFC North because they don't have a star quarterback, they don't have star players on the team, and they're rebuilding right now, like you mentioned. And I know the Packers fans don't want to hear that, but suck it up. I mean, that's the reality you have now. I mean, us Bears fans have been rebuilding for 20, 30 plus years, and we've still supported the team. We've still gone through with it. So, Packers fans are kind of being babies right now because they're finally getting a glimpse of like what us Bears fans have seen for the past, our entire lives. But it's kind of funny to see it as a Bears fan because it's about damn time these fans actually, go through pain, go through like some struggles like we have forever. So
Yeah, I think that. So the Bears right now are in a position where we have, and basically speaking of the Packers, I have to ask you, how many Packers fans told you after the Bears signed Robert Tunyon, basically, oh, he's overrated, he wasn't shit anyways, good luck with him.
yeah, a lot of them were like that. I mean, it's the same with every Packers player that comes here. Like, we haven't signed too many Packers players though in the past. Like, there's only been a few, but they're always like, "Oh, if you're not on the team anymore, yeah, you suck. Like, you were never that good to begin with."
Yeah, they forget that 2020 season where I heard Robert Tanya's name, the George Kittle.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
didn't he have like what 12 touchdowns a year or something like? It was a
Yeah,
crazy.
he broke out. We didn't know who he was until he had that season, and even then, he was still productive. He catches. Here's the thing: I don't think he's going to be the starter. It's Robert. It's Colt Kmet, which I know last time we spoke, I said that I wanted Colt Kmet to break out. Otherwise, I want him gone. And
Mm.
Colt Kmet, there's still flaws in him, but I feel like it will be changed and he'll be a solid tight end. Darnell Mooney, being the number two, says a lot. Chase Claypool, I have to see because I feel like people are judging the trade that we did too early, and you have to see DJ Moore. Like I said, he's a great receiver, but do you think that he is like a potentially to be a Stephon Diggs, AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson type of receiver?
Well, I mean, he ranks. I saw a stat that he like in the first 5 years of his career, his receiving yardage ranking is like I think it was like seventh or something or sixth or something like that. So like all time in the NFL, like he's had a crazy amount of yards through the first 5 years of his career, even playing with really bad quarterbacks. And he's probably not in the in the level of like a Justin Jefferson or like a Jamar Chase, like the top receivers, like the top 5 receivers, but he very well could be top 10 or like top 12, which still would be good for us Bears fans, right? Like we just need any good receiver, any like decent receiver, and he's more than decent. So I think he can be a true number one. He's been a number one for the Carolina Panthers, and the Panthers have not had good quarterback play.
Baker, Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Cam Newton, wash, not prime. Even
Yeah.
though, yeah, that would have been a major problem if DJ Moore had Cam Newton in his prime. But that's for a different story. How do you so going back to the Justin Fields and Bryce Young, did you ever pay the Bryce Young to the Bears story any attention? Or did you just like, can I just get this trade over with? So I'm tired of hearing it.
No, I didn't pay it any attention. I mean, literally everything you saw from Ryan Poles in the front office said that they were going to keep Justin Fields. Like they didn't for a second even make me think like they might move off of Justin Fields and trade him and draft a quarterback. Maybe like 1% of me was like, what if they do something crazy and actually go through with this and trade Justin Fields because they did not draft this guy, so maybe there was like a tiny percent chance that they could actually draft a quarterback, but now, like I knew from the beginning, like there was no chance they're actually going to trade Justin Fields because they knew that they did not give him anything to work with last year. Like the supporting cast was so bad. Justin Fields still was a trooper. He still went through the season and made it out at the end, and still had a pretty decent year, at least rushing with the football. Not obviously not passing that much, but put together a historic season on the ground and still did some things to keep the Bears in games. So I knew that Ryan Poles would not be so stupid to move off of a quarterback like this when he surrounded him with absolutely nothing last year. And also, if you want to move off of Justin Fields, like next year is a better time to do it because Caleb Williams, Drake May, there's better quarterbacks in the draft next year. So if Justin Fields does flop, like those prospects are better in my opinion than Bryce Young was. So it's even better to to wait another year if you did want to move off of him.
I don't. The thing is, I don't want to move on because we have had so many quarterbacks. It's time for him to help break it. I'm tired of mediocrity. I've seen so many quarterbacks on this Bears team. Rex Grossman should have won the Super Bowl. Uh, Kyle Orton, Jay Cutler, Matt Barkley, Mike Glennon, Ryan Poles paid him a lot. I mean, not Ryan Poles. I don't know why I said Ryan, but Ryan Pace. Ryan Pace
Yeah.
paid him. Uh, Trubisky, Foles, and now we're and Dalton, and right now we have Justin Fields. But that's the thing. I'm tired of switching quarterbacks. I want Fields to do well, and I kind of felt what like I remember we've had this conversation back in 2000. It was the 2021 draft because we didn't know if the Bears were going to select Justin Fields, even if he were to drop that far. We all thought he was going to go to the Niners, but the Niners they had their own issues. We all thought that Justin Fields was either going to the Panthers or the Broncos. But I said this. I was being realistic. I was being like, knowing Ryan Pace, he's probably going to draft Mac Jones. He's probably well, and it really shocked me when we picked Justin Fields, honestly. Because honestly, I was saying, maybe I'll give Mac Jones a chance. But looking at it right now, looking at myself, because I really wanted Mac Jones because he was a great quarterback in Alabama, and I feel like right now even though he's with a really good, he had a really good team, the Patriots, but right now we don't even know if he's going to be the starting quarterback. They could just start Bailey Zappi and be done with Mac Jones. But did you go into the draft knowing that, oh, there's a chance we could pick Justin Fields? Or if you, let's just say hypothetically, if we did draft Mac Jones, would you think that we would be in the same spot as right now?
No, if we drafted Mac Jones, I mean, we might be in the same spot in terms of like win loss record. Like we still would have probably finished with a 3-win season last year, but we probably would have been drafting a quarterback than last year, like or sorry, this year. Like we would have probably had Bryce Young then on the team because I think that Ryan Poles would have realized that Mac Jones does not have the ceiling that a Justin Fields does or that a Bryce Young does. So I was never a big fan of Mac Jones. I think he can be pretty average. Like he could be maybe like a Kirk Cousins, like a Jared Goff type of quarterback at the very best, which is still that. I mean, that's still fine. Like it's not a horrible pick, if you are the Patriots. But I think we saw last year that Mac Jones has severe limitations, and with a bad supporting cast, especially like he's not going to put the team on his back and do crazy things by himself like a Justin Fields can. So, you know, you asked also like, did I think that there was a chance that Justin Fields could be a Bear? Well, yeah. I mean, I was kind of predicting it the whole time for kind of no reason. Like there was no reason to actually think that that could be a possibility because it was kind of stupid to even think that so many teams would pass on a quarterback like this. So I still think we got super freaking lucky. Like that should not have happened. He should have went number 2 overall to the Jets if they were smart at all. But we got pretty lucky. And Ryan Pace, being the desperate guy he was back then, he had to move up and get his guy because his job was on the line, and he did not end up saving his job, even though he got a really good quarterback because the rest of the team was so bad. But I did think that we were going to get Justin Fields. I just had like a gut feeling for whatever reason, and thank God we did.
Yeah, and then that's why I didn't want to move on from Fields because I didn't want to draft Bryce Young. But someone because I saw there was a meme page, Ghetto Gronk. So I saw we were getting Justin Fields trade rumors, and the description said Ryan Poles, and then remember when Cliff Kingsbury said that Josh Rosen was our guy the same year that they drafted Kyler Murray. If you
Mhm.
saw that, if I was a casual and we still have the first overall pick, what if I told you, well, Cliff Kingsbury said the same thing that Josh Rosen was the guy, and they traded him to the Dolphins, and then they acquired Kyler Murray. If I told you that, what would you say?
Well, I mean, it's kind of stupid. Like that's obviously one scenario where it happened, but like every scenario has not been like that. Like there's been so many other scenarios in NFL history where a team has been like, yeah, he's our guy, and he actually was their guy. So, I think you have to look at the other context there and like see like, oh, Ryan Poles was, you know, even in other comments, like he was saying like he's gonna commit around Justin Fields and probably give him another chance. Give him an actual good team to surround him with. So like I don't think you can just base it off of one or two scenarios in NFL history where it did kind of go the opposite way.
And in that meme post, I saw one post where it was, when that trick play with Cole Kmet where he snapped the ball and then handed to Justin Fields. It said right after the Bears draft Bryce Young, they're going to have Justin Fields switch to running back, which is like
Oh my god.
the same treatment that they gave Lamar is the same treatment that they're giving Fields, that he's a glorified running back. And I have spoken to so many people when they say Fields is more of a great runner than he is a thrower. When you say that, right? If anyone says that, they don't watch Ohio State
Yeah.
football. Like I've seen, and plus, right now, I've seen Fields throw a good ball. It's just his receivers couldn't catch the ball. If if your team was filled with receivers of Equinemius St. Brown and Dante Pettis, and Darnell Mooney got hurt, and I in that hype up video that I did for Justin Fields, that basically got over 100 likes because it was so good. Colin Cowher, oh my goodness, he is such the most biased person I think of. He's worse than Skip Bayless. He's
Oh
worse
yeah.
than Skip, but he was saying stop blaming the receivers. Darnell Mooney would start on the Giants team. Chase Claypool would start on the Giants team, and so would Cole Kmet. And PFF, honestly, I still use that, but I know it's not a trustable source. But he said that the Bears' offensive line was ranked 14, I think, on PFF. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I saw you react to that video, and what were you trying? It's like, did you was there like bloopers of you just like you just kept pausing the video because he kept saying something stupid?
Yeah, it took me a few takes to make that video because I just had just crazy stuff. I was trying not to like swear or anything or like say anything that was gonna, put me in like YouTube timeout like you're in right now. Like there's so much you can say on YouTube that's gonna either demonetize you or get the video taken down. So yeah, I had to do a few takes there, but no, for the most part, that was like my raw reaction, like what I thought about the video. It was just such a stupid argument that Colin Cowherd put out there, which that's the majority of his arguments, the majority of his segments are just kind of just creating narratives and kind of running with those narratives and attaching, the stats that fit the narrative, putting them there and the stats that don't fit the narrative, like leaving them out. Like he never actually presents you with the full story, with all the information. And, the offensive line thing with PFF ranking them 14th, like I don't even think that was true, right? Like in pass blocking, PFF ranked us pretty low in terms of like true pass sets. Pass blocking in that, which I think we were like 29th or 30th. So if he went through and like looked at the actual numbers, then he would have saw that the Bears did not have a good offensive line last year, which anybody with eyes could have told you that. So I mean, I do get that like he has a lot of teams to talk about, so he can't, focus in on every single team kind of like we can, but at the same time, you should probably be more informed or at least have people around you that can inform you more.
Yeah, I feel like you wanted to drop an F bomb on Colin Cowherd. I can
100%.
tell, but what really set me off was I saw one video that I reacted to. He said that Justin Fields can't play in the cold because of that dome.
Yeah,
It was like
I saw that too.
I'm just like, dude.
Skip Bayless said that too. Actually, I think that was on Skip Bayless' show. Him and Shannon Sharp had a segment there where they were talking about him and his comments about playing in the cold.
Truth is, anyone that says that if you don't play, if you say that, oh, you wish in a dome, you don't like playing in the cold, you wish there was a dome. If anyone says that, they never played football. I mean, Shannon played football, but he's played. I think he played on the Cowboys. I think he did.
Like 1 second, the light just went out. Give me 1 second.
Take a 5-minute break.
All right, sorry about that. For some reason, the light just shut off.
Yeah, so I was saying that the reason why Shannon probably said that was because he was playing on the Cowboys, because he played in the dome for all of his life. So if anyone says that Justin Fields can't play in the cold because he's scared, he's too scared, he's got to find it out. They never played football in the cold. That's just my feeling on it.
Yeah, 100%. Even like any sport, even if you just go outside at any time, like you're not going to enjoy, playing outside or just walking outside, especially if you live in Chicago. The weather gets super cold here in November, December, even October. It's not fun. It's not pleasant to be outside. So I don't think like you said, like any person that actually played sports, played football outside would agree with, enjoying playing in cold weather. Like they probably like kind of give off the impression that they're okay with it, like players do, but deep down inside, they're freezing and like they're not having fun at all.
And someone brought this up a good point in one of the comment section in some video. The cold affects players. Josh Allen had a bad game against the Bears. Jalen Hurts had a bad game against the Bears. Even Aaron Rodgers had a bad game against the Bears. And the Bears had second stringers, third stringers, but the Bears wanted to tank so bad. Teams do that anyone with a mindset would want to play in a dome. That was basically stupid. They were trying to fit the narrative that, like, we all knew Poles was never going to trade Fields. And when Poles says that he's going to do something, he does it. And I have a feeling that because I am getting a little bit frustrated with not getting us potentially going into a season without a second, which I do think we will address either before training camp or during cuts. Because we remember, knock on wood, 2018 during training camp and mini camp, the Bears traded for Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. And Bears fans are getting frustrated, understandably so, but I feel like Ryan Poles is looking for a better solution. Here's here's a thing that people don't remember: Bears signing Larry Oljanabi or whatever. They signed him, and then he failed his physical because he can't, and Poles overpaid for him. I feel like Ryan Poles is taking that into consideration. Either one, he's looking to sign. He just doesn't want to overpay like Ryan Pace would. But that's just my thing. Do you feel like Bears fans are overreacting a little bit to the edge position, or they just, or you just have to, or they have reason to think that we're gonna go into the season with just Travis Walker and our edge rusher being Travis Gibson? Do you think that they're overreacting, or they have every reason to probably?
Yeah, they're probably overreacting a little bit because I think at some point it's pretty much guaranteed that we're going to add somebody. I mean, Ryan Poles said that he was going to look at adding edge rushers through the draft, or sorry, through free agency or a trade a couple weeks ago, and that hasn't happened yet. But like you mentioned, like every single thing that Ryan Poles has said he was going to do, he did it like almost every time. Like he's been very transparent with the media, with the public. So I think you just kind of have to wait and trust Ryan Poles' plan here, and it's probably a situation like where he's trying to pay the right amount for the guys out there, like for like a Yannick Ngakoue or like for Leonard Floyd. Like he's trying not to overpay these guys. He's trying to keep them probably on only 1 year deals max, maybe 2 years, very max. Like he's not trying to go so much in the future with these guys because they're available for a reason. Like if these guys were elite players, they would have been signed by now, but none of them are signed by now. And he's also probably looking at trade options too. So like a Chase Young from the Commanders. I mean, maybe they don't want to trade him now, but maybe if we wait for a little bit, if Chase Young is not showing up to mandatory OTAs or if he's not showing up to
Montez
training
Sweat,
camp,
Montez Sweat as well.
Montez Sweat too. Yeah, I mean, there's two guys on the Commanders that are like really good fits for the Bears in the 4-3 scheme, and either one will be really good for us. And we have an extra first round pick next year and an extra second round pick in 2025 too to potentially make a trade for these guys. Now, I don't think it would take a first round pick to trade for Chase Young or Montez Sweat, but maybe a second round pick, maybe a third round pick. Like we have the assets to trade for these guys, but I feel like Ryan Poles is trying to be smart with this and make sure he's not paying too much right now and only paying like when he absolutely has to. So, if Bears fans want like a timeline for when we're gonna add an edge rusher, I feel like it'd be right before training camp starts. So, maybe like beginning of July, middle of July. So wait a few weeks and I guarantee you, like we're gonna add somebody at some point. Like we're not gonna go into next season with only having Travis Gibson and DeMarcus Walker as our edge guys. Like that's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, even though I know you still have a little hope for Travis Gibson.
Yeah.
I know you have a little hope for
Yeah. I
because I
was
know
high on
you.
him last year. I mean, like last year, a lot of people thought he was going to have 10, 10, 11 sacks because he played really good behind Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn. But we just kind of found out that like alone, he's not as good as the other guys were. So that was kind of disappointing. But he still has some promise for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of the Bears all time, I think I basically have gotten in a lot of arguments with people because they don't think Devin Hester deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Because obviously, I only watch Devin Hester a few times because I my first time watching him was the Super Bowl against the Colts.
Hmm.
You watched him probably more than me. Do you think Devin Hester deserves to go in the Hall of Fame? If so, why? Why? Do you think he got snubbed out 2 years? Do you think Devin Hester deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? And yes, explain why.
Yeah, I mean, he has every record basically known to mankind for a kick returner, for a punt returner too. Like he returned both punts and kicks, which is not what every return man does. Like Cordell Patterson only returns kicks. So like he did it all. He returned both punts and kicks. He has records for both kicks and punt returns. He also has a record for like the all-time return touchdown record. So I mean, if you watched him live, which even like I'm kind of like you, like I didn't watch him like a crazy amount because I was pretty young back then, but I did watch him, the Super Bowl to after that too a little bit. So like he's a reason why I'm such a big Bears fan right now. Like his returns just made me so excited and like it made me want to watch the sport and be a Bears fan. So they also changed the rules for him too. Like they actually changed the rules back in whatever year it was. because of Devin Hester just completely you know, destroying like every single game. So like he changed the rules. He was such a good player at what he did. Opposing teams, opposing defenses, opposing players respected him a lot, which is the biggest thing you can say about a Hall of Fame player, that all the other players, all the other teams feared him. So I think there's like no question that he should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. So it kind of sucks that he wasn't first ballot, but he's gonna get in next year for sure. Like I basically guarantee it.
At this point, I've 2 years, he was snubbed out, but until I see it, I feel like the Bears should just have his jersey retired at some point. Just my opinion. But right now, the Bears, I'm very excited for this year. I know because we all last year was kind of disappointing, but in that disappointing year, you saw hope for the future. And here's what I've tried to explain to people multiple times. Because after when Mahomes went to his the Super Bowl this year, he was interviewed. His father got interviewed, and he said, "Oh, we were expecting Mahomes to go to the Bears." And people act. I have a feeling that, and this is a real hot take, if the Bears would have drafted Patrick Mahomes in that year, he probably would have been set up for absolute failure. And that is a fact that people don't want to hear. People think that you can just get a quarterback like a good quarterback and you're going to be set for life, basically. Tom Brady was just basically lightning in a bottle, probably never going to see one again. But here's the thing that people don't understand about Patrick Mahomes. He went to a team that was a great team, didn't need to start him right away. He also had a good supporting cast, good offensive line, and a good head coach. Joe Burrow, he didn't have a good offensive line, but he had studs. And Tua, even though Tua is kind of being on the down rise because we don't know if his injuries, but he did look on the rise for a while last year. And with Jalen Hurts, I didn't think Jalen Hurts was going to work out with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, but you see, same with Josh Allen. I thought Josh Allen was probably just a overrated. I mean, he's still overrated, but he's not massively overrated. But that's just my thing, that you can get good quarterbacks, but if they can't carry the team, they'll basically do everything they can, but they'll probably be first round exits or 500 team at best. But that's just my feeling, that people think like, oh, what matters is if you have the quarterback right. Because football is a team sport. It doesn't matter what anybody says. The NBA, different story, but football is always a team sport. Mahomes went to the perfect situation. He didn't go to a dumpster fire like the Bears, the Browns, or I don't know if I think he would have been fine on the Niners, but how would you say that about quarterback, about Patrick Mahomes possibly not working out with the Bears if he were to get drafted by us? Like, let's just say in a different universe, the Bears draft Patrick Mahomes, where would he be right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough to say. Like, I don't think we had the coach, obviously, that the Chiefs had. Like, we don't have any Andy Reid here. We never had Andy Reid here. Matt Nagy he wasn't good. I mean, he was kind of a fake. Like, he obviously was not that good. So it kind of, it's kind of hard to say though, right? Because he's still, I think Patrick Mahomes this year kind of proved that he is still he's like good even without the team to some extent. Like this year, like they did not have the best receivers in the world. Like they still had like Travis Kelsey, so I don't want to say he had like a bad supporting cast, but we saw Patrick Mahomes still do crazy things without having the best of the best team out there. But like you mentioned, like it is still a team sport, so I'm not sure if he went to the Bears if he would have been the MVP level quarterback that he is right now, like on track to being one of the best quarterbacks of all time, like that probably wouldn't have happened, but he still probably would have been at least fairly decent because he does have just crazy things that you can't really teach. And, with Ryan Poles here eventually, like if Ryan Poles still came to the Bears eventually, which maybe that will not be the case because if we did get Mahomes, maybe Pace would still be here. Although Pace didn't really build good teams around his good quarterback, so you never know there. But it's really hard to say right now. Like I feel like maybe we would have been, in the playoffs a couple times, but not sure about winning a Super Bowl with Mahomes. Even if he is a good quarterback, like we just did not have the teams around the quarterback to get to the Super Bowl level. But I mean, I do want to say like maybe in 2018, like that was the one year that we actually did surround our quarterback with pretty good talents, and Trubisky just kind of faltered. So maybe in 2018 we would have went all the way because we actually had a good defense, good supporting cast. But aside from that year, like it probably would not have been as good as it's been so far for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, we would possibly be like the Rams, win a Super Bowl and then fall off the next year.
Yep.
That's just my feeling that people think that if you quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes could be on any team and they'll basically win a Super Bowl. But the thing is, you have to look at circumstances that they were in because even though Justin Fields, he did improve with the stuff that he had around him for the most part. But what football is a team sport. We've watched all of our games that he was there starting. The Bears can move the ball down the field after the mini bye. It was just the Bears had no defense and no receivers. I mean, come on, you're not expecting any you can't expect any quarterback to come in the same spot that Justin Fields did, and basically you were at the Commanders game, and oh boy, honestly, I was just like I had my honestly, I had my hands on my eyes for a while, and it's because I just couldn't believe it. And oh boy, there were Bears fans. Well, I wouldn't say Bears fans because a lot of Bears fans that want to see Fields succeed came at Ryan Poles because of where he was surrounded. But there were some Bears fans that were like, I think it's time to bench him for Trevor Simeon.
Yeah, I mean, even at the stadium, like you saw people in the tunnels and all, like chanting for Trevor Simeon to come in, or like to bench Justin Fields and draft another quarterback next year. So it was a really bad time to be a Bears fan because, especially being a Justin Fields fan myself, like it was such a low time when the quarterback that you thought was going to be so good was just not playing that well. The team was not doing well at all. So it was a really sad time to be a Bears fan. But thankfully, right after that, the very next week, the mini bye happened, and somehow we just go crazy the next 6 7 weeks after the playbook changed kind of, and Justin Fields looks like a really good quarterback, mostly on the ground obviously, but still having some good plays through the air as well. So that was a very bad time. I really wish I did not go to that game because I feel like we wasted a lot of money just being there because it was not that fun to be there that night. But I do think it's going to be a different story next year when we play the Commanders again on Thursday night. This time it's going to be in Washington D.C. And we could be winning that game by a lot because now the tides have turned a lot.
The last time we were at Washington, Mitch Trubisky blew out
Oh
the
yeah, that's right. I forgot about that almost. Yeah, that was 2019, I think, right?
yes.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, but Case Keenum was their quarterback right now. It's Sam Howell. I don't think Sam Howell is their answer. I just don't see it. They probably should have gotten Will Levis or try to trade up for Anthony Richardson. But I'm not. Thank God, I'm not a Commanders fan. It's like, thank God. I mean, it's just like Bears fans. They're impatient. Most of them. I just hope that Justin Fields basically. I just feel like Justin Fields is getting the same treatment Lamar Jackson did, and then Lamar Jackson had that crazy season. With like, we'll come back on this stream. Hopefully, it happens next year, and I just want everyone to remember you called this dude this dude is getting running back jokes, the same treatment that they gave Lamar, and then Lamar won an MVP this season. Do you really think that it could happen? You know, about because he's getting the same treatment Lamar Jackson did.
Sorry, you cut out for a little bit there. Were you asking me if I think Justin Fields can be like Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, yeah, that 2019 season when he had that like crazy
Yeah.
season.
Yeah. I think it's definitely possible, man. I mean, I actually think that Justin Fields is a better thrower than Lamar Jackson is because in college you saw
Ooh,
more
hot
throwing
take.
highlights. I feel like out of
Very
him.
hot take right there.
Yeah, it is a very hot take. I know this. If people share this online, like it might reach Ravens fans and they might go crazy about this. But I feel like at least from a potential perspective, Justin Fields as a passer has more potential than Lamar Jackson does. Now, so far, obviously Lamar has been the much better passer, but that's also because he's had better offensive lines, better playmakers in the past too, like a Mark Andrews, and obviously he didn't have great receivers back then, but now he has good receivers too. So I think that Justin Fields, you could see stuff like 2019 where he's going to go off passing the ball and also being a good runner of the football too. But I don't think like 2019 he's going to be running for over 1,000 yards like Lamar Jackson did. Like I just don't see Justin Fields running that much anymore because he won't have to anymore. Like now we actually have pretty good pass blockers. We have good pass catchers too. So like I mean I'm kind of envisioning a situation where he could be passing for 3,500, maybe even higher yards because he's definitely capable of doing something like that. So the passing touchdown should be pretty high. The yardage should be pretty high as well. And there should still be like maybe 600, 700 yards rushing too, because he does have the legs. Like he's not going to just always be in the pocket, but you should see hopefully a pass first quarterback next year.
And I'll say this: I feel like Justin. I mean, the Ravens they do have good receivers. I mean, I don't think Odell Beckham. He's great, but he's kind of washed. He might be injury prone. But I'm hoping that Lamar Jackson kind of does fall because I have a bet going on with somebody because I feel like the Bears could potentially win more games than the Ravens. That's the only reason why I'm hoping the Ravens absolutely suck because I mean they're in a harder division than us.
Yeah.
Do you really think that the Bears could potentially win more games than the Ravens, or that would if the chance of that happening is if the sun would basically go big and destroy every planet the day that happens?
No, I mean it's possible, right? Like anything is possible in the NFL. Like we saw the Bengals, go from being the worst team in the NFL to reaching the Super Bowl the very next year. So like I don't want to say anything is not possible because it is a league where basically anything is possible. But right now, if I had to put a bet on it, I'm not sure if I would place that bet because the Ravens are pretty good right now. But I still think it's possible you win that bet too because the NFC North is much easier of a division than what is it, the AFC North. I think the Ravens
Yeah,
are
the
in.
AFC North, the
Yeah,
AFC.
AFC North. Yeah, I mean they have the Browns there who are going to be better. They have the Steelers who got a lot better, and they got obviously the Cincinnati Bengals too. So there's definitely a situation where the Bears could actually be the better team than the Ravens next year. I mean it's totally possible.
Yeah, but I have a feeling that's gonna happen. But this last topic, which
Yeah.
sadly we can't do this live because there's
Yeah. Me
there's this
too.
fan because a fanboy that's been following me and you around who was a Lions fan,
Oh yeah, Don Burr.
and he comes in says his Detroit opinions and oh my god, bro, the Lions draft was so bad. He tried defending it so hard. I'm telling you, they took a running back. They took a running back, and he tried so hard defending it. Like that just tells you how much I appreciate it, but he can't defend it. The
I
Lions
haven't.
draft was
Yeah.
horrible.
I've not seen him in my comments since the NFL draft. Maybe I haven't been looking hard enough, but I've not seen him in my comments since the NFL draft, which is pretty crazy because he's been commenting on basically every single video of mine the past 5 years. So like even Don Burr had to take a step back and like realize what his team did. But now, I mean, I think a lot of people agree the Lions did not really have a good draft. As I mean, they still added good players. Like, I don't want to say they did not add good players because I actually like Jameer Gibbs. I like Jack Campbell too, but I like them in the second round or the third round, like not the first round. Like they could have had much better players and still gotten probably Jack Campbell later on. Maybe not Jameer Gibbs, but I mean they could have gotten Jameer Gibbs at number 18 or whatever the second first round pick was. So it was not the best draft by the Lions. I guess you have to wait and see because they could obviously prove us wrong. It's the NFL, and when the players actually start playing, could be a totally different story. But on paper, it was not a good draft by the Lions, who actually had a chance to go to contender status. But right now, I still feel like they're not full on contenders. They're a really good team, but I don't think they're going to be Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't think the Lions should win the division, but I don't see it happening because we all know it's Detroit. We all know one year they look good, and then the next year they fall off. Like honestly, I said this on my community tab. If you think if the Lions couldn't beat the Bears with Stafford, Megatron, and whoever Calvin Johnson, how do you think that they will beat us now with the current roster that they have? And it's basically like it's crazy how there's Lions fans. I'm like, I was like, the Lions have a fan base. Just like, bruh, just like, honestly, I was like laughing so hard when they reached for a running back, and because they could have potentially gotten Carter, but many other teams didn't, so that's kind of understandable. But they could have gotten Jackson Smith and Jigba because of their gambling problems.
Yeah, I mean it's very funny like how the draft actually went. Yeah, I mean, so you're not picking the Lions. Who do you have win the division next year? The Bears? Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
I know, I know. I got a good feeling. I already have my DJ Moore jersey on my Fields jersey. You know what? I should have gotten a custom. I wish there was a custom jersey that you can put like the one, and then there was like a line, and then the two, and then it has like the Fields and the Moore name. I
Oh
wish they.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you get it from China, it's actually possible. Like the cheap Chinese jerseys, you can actually put anything on there.
Yeah,
But
that's
no, but
big.
yeah, I was gonna say yeah, I mean, there's definitely a chance the Bears could win the division. Like I tried to be a little bit conservative in my predictions because I always get fans saying like, "Oh, you're super biased. You're only saying that because you're a Bears fan." So that's kind of why I was like we're probably not gonna win the division coming off of a 3-1 season, but going 10-7 should be more than possible. And I still think that winning the division also could be very possible because of what you mentioned, the Lions last year even it took the refs' help to beat us the first time when we actually had all of our guys healthy. Like the second game, none of our guys were healthy down the stretch. So that's part of the reason why we lost 40 whatever to whatever the final score was. But the first game, we were actually winning. Jack Sanborn had the basically the game sealing pick, but then the ref called hands to the face or something like that on Jack Sanborn, which negated the interception, which caused them to eventually win the game. So that's in the past, obviously. I think that this year, the Bears do have a team that can be competitive with the Lions. I'm still picking them, at least right now, to win the division because they should be the favorites. But I would be very, very happy to be wrong and, have the Bears win the division. I think it's totally possible.
Listen, it's Detroit. They'll screw everything up. But as far as the Vikings go, we all know what team we won't be. It's the Vikings. The Vikings are going to suck.
Yeah.
They're not going to get lucky like they did last year. Oh my god! Like
They got
honestly,
worse on both sides of the ball too. Maybe not on offense. They did add Jordan Addison on the offense, so maybe that's kind of an upgrade. But their defense did not get better, and their defense was very bad last year, right? Like they lost to Darius Smith. They didn't add too much in the secondary, so I don't think the Vikings are going to be good either.
yeah, it's crazy though that we watched the Vikings last year and they were in every game, especially the Colts game, where I thought the game was over for a moment. I turned off the TV, sat in my room for a little bit. I viewed the score a little bit. And I'm like, oh, holy shit, this game's actually close. And then I turn it back on. I'm like, holy shit. And oh my god, I got some. Here's the thing: I've learned to only talk your trash when the game ends. Don't do it
Yeah.
until the time hits zero. then you can do it. Then don't do it. Just like basic, just don't do it. No lead is safe in the NFL. No lead is safe. It's
Totally
just
agree. I mean, yeah, even in like each of the Packers games last year, like we were up by 10 points each game, and I saw Bears fans talking trash online, but then we had to delete all of our tweets and our comments and everything because we ended up losing. I mean, that's the NFL for you.
well, that's just because Rogers.
Yeah,
Sadly, he owns us, but he's not
yeah.
the bad. Like you said, the bad man will no longer hurt us. Well, it's time for Justin Fields to be that bad man now.
Yeah, it's totally possible, man. I mean, yeah, like I said, like he's had 10 plus point leads every single game he's played against the Packers. Like literally every game, we've been winning by 10 points, but we just choke at the end because Aaron Rodgers, finds a way to come back, and we just do not have good teams around Justin Fields either. So I do think he can actually sweep the Packers this year. Like I think in my prediction, I did not pick a sweep, just to be a little bit, I guess, conservative right now. But it's totally possible we could sweep the Packers for the first time in a long, long time.
Knock on wood that this happens 10 years. Justin Fields runs the ball in the end zone, hopefully in Lambeau Field. All right, we're in Lambeau Field. The game's on, like, Justin Fields runs the ball in the end zone, and then he tells a bunch of Packers fans that he still owns them.
Yes, sir, dude. I think that's totally possible, man. I mean, I really, like you said, knock on wood. I hope he plays for that long. I hope he's good for that long. But yeah, I don't see many good times coming in Green Bay. Like they don't have the quarterback they once had. They don't have the team they once had. It should be a lot of fun times for Bears fans. Finally, we should finally be able to be, talking some shit for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I'll allow. I swear a lot on
Yeah.
this. I'm not getting in trouble for it. It's just
Okay.
I title it. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Just like that promo. You probably watched WWE back then, where it was actually cool. But now it's but back then it was good. That promo where John Cena was at the Undertaker's like grave site, and he's like doing a number one on the gravestone.
Yeah. I don't watch much WWE, so like yeah, I have no idea, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, but just imagine that, and being a Bears fan and doing that to a Green Bay Packer tombstone.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I hope so, man. I'm just hoping we get the first win this year, right? Like, especially the first game of the year, like that. In
I
my
want
opinion,
it
that's a
to
must
happen.
win. Like,
I
we have to.
wanted it to happen.
Yeah,
I wanted the Packers week one. Look at my videos. I wanted to play the Packers week one. It's time. I said it's time we make a statement in the Jordan Love era.
it's the best time to play them too because Jordan Love is still mostly a rookie, right? Like, he does not have much experience whatsoever. So, like, it's actually a good thing we're playing them in week one. And dude, if we get that win, man, it's gonna be really fun to be a Bears fan for the first time in a long time. Like, we just have not beat this team since 2018, right? So I can't wait for week one, man. It's gonna be a
Yeah,
lot of
me
fun.
too. Week one cannot come so easy, but hopefully the Bears can add an edge rusher. But do you want to know what was funny when the DJ, just to add a little like thing that before we head out, the DJ Moore trade, honestly, I got like many messages saying that, oh, we robbed the Panthers without a mask. Hope I'm hoping to God, and this is a real hot take. The Panthers will win 3 games this year.
Ooh,
Top three pick. Top three pick. I'm
dude, if we get a top three pick next year, like we're gonna have the first round picks for some team for like the next 5 years probably because there's gonna be a team that trades a lot for Caleb Williams or Drake May or even Marvin Harrison Jr. Which I mean, if we have a top three pick, like if we have number three, then that'll probably be Marvin Harrison Jr. But if we have one or two, I feel like we trade back and just get a crap ton of picks to add to our haul. But
knock
man,
on
I
wood.
just cannot even like that would kind of be like an infinite draft pick glitch, right? Like you're just gonna keep on getting more and more picks in the future just because of that one bad season you had in 2022.
Knock on wood. What if the Panthers suck so bad that we have the first overall pick again?
Dude, I mean, we're gonna get at least two, three more first round picks, maybe even like a player or two. Like I think at that point, like, you could even start talking about, like, a dynasty for Chicago, which obviously you need to win 1 championship to even be considered a dynasty, but that would just give us, like, such a good long-term foundation, which the Bears have never had. I mean, I really freaking hope that happens. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, but we're not gonna have like a Patriot dynasty, you know. They you gotta think.
Yeah,
No one,
probably not, yeah, but
no one. That's kind of overthinking it.
obviously, yeah.
It's just
If we
like,
have that many first round picks though, man, like we just have crap ton of first round picks then where we just have such a stacked team. Even if Cole sucks at drafting, you just have so many picks to even, take chances on.
yeah, that's a potential for a dynasty right there. If the Panthers do suck, which I said it before. I said it before. If the Bears do not play, I'm definitely watching a Panthers game and rooting for whoever they're facing. Like the Falcons, the first game. I guess we're gonna be Falcons fans for 1 p.m. And then we're gonna revert back to Bears fans at 4:25 p.m.
Yeah.
That's the plan. We're gonna say Rise Up Falcons at 1 p.m. and then we're gonna say Bear Down at 4:25 p.m. And
Yeah,
then
I mean it's just like us cheering against the Packers every single game. Like it's gonna be we're gonna have like double opportunities to cheer against the team. Like it's gonna be cheering against the Packers and against, whatever team the Panthers play.
yeah, and then next week they play the Saints. We say who dat nation, who dat nation,
Yeah.
and we say who that, and then well, I think the game is happening at the same time that we play the Buccaneers, and hopefully, I'm gonna vlog that stuff, and hopefully I can get to.
Oh, you're going to that game?
Yeah, I plan to.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hopefully I get good seats because honestly,
Yeah.
when I vlog it, I might I might post it, and you'll get a chance to see this. But I'm hoping, when Baker Mayfield like sucks, because he hates the fans. I how do I know this? Because a Bungles fan did it, and he said, "Why don't you come down there and say it to my face?" I'm hoping to do that.
Yeah,
This like
please do.
player reaction. I'm hoping it happens. Hoping it. But honestly, it wouldn't shock me if we play Kyle Trask.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, at that point, it depends who wins the job in training camp. Kyle Trask is probably like the higher ceiling guy because you already know what Baker Mayfield is right now. But
To
I
me,
mean,
he's
I
a
don't.
bust. To me, he's a bust.
Both are kind of bust. I mean, we haven't seen Kyle Trask play yet, but I'm like 95% sure it's going to be a bust. I was hoping the Bears would not draft Kyle Trask in 2021. Yeah, I mean, I'm not scared of either quarterback, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, Baker Mayfield to me is a bust. If you can't work out with DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, well, what makes me think you're going to work out with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin? Uh, oh, they don't have Julio. I just noticed that Julio is on
Yeah.
the free agent market.
I
Yeah,
think he
that's why.
retired. He's
Yeah,
probably retired.
yeah, that's why I'm glad we didn't sign any receivers. This because this year was trash. I mean, this receiving core was in the free agent was pretty at best. It
Yeah.
was it like that's why I'm happy we traded for. I thought we were gonna draft a receiver, but honestly, I'm glad we got DJ Moore. That polls didn't feel the need to draft a receiver. That's just my thing.
Yeah, especially because he also traded for Claypool too last year. Like, I think if we didn't trade for Claypool, like we could have actually drafted, JSN or somebody at number 9. But we already had a good receiving core at that point. So yeah,
But we're forgetting about building long term, draft an offensive line instead of getting Jalen Carter, which I wanted Jalen Carter, but I understood it. I'm
yeah,
not I'm not going to overreact like many Bears fans
yeah,
that are in their feelings to this day. Look, if Jalen Carter gets in an accident, you're going to be saying people are going to be like, "Well, we dodged the bullet."
yeah, 100%. And we still got a good player too. Like Donald Wright still is like I mean, he's like a top 10, top 15 talent. So like it's not like we didn't get a good player. And like the Bears usually always prioritize the defensive line. So it's like for the first time ever, we have a GM that's actually prioritizing offensive line, which is pretty, nice to see.
Yeah, that's was me. Well, it's just adding a little bow on it to include this video. Well, when this video gets released by Friday night, when I'm out of jail, uh, I'm gonna vent. I've been in so many communities, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and even Instagram and Facebook. But honestly, YouTube has gotten to be the most softest community I've ever been in. It's like you can't. Just like honestly, how can I get banned for calling a person an asshole? I mean,
Yeah,
because it was true. And but there was this Eagles fan who made fun of Dak's mother when when she passed away, and he still continues to be on Instagram. But that's just me.
God damn. Yeah, it's I've given up with YouTube. Like that's why I don't swear in my videos anymore. Like the most I say is like shit or whatnot. Like you can't say anything else in YouTube videos, otherwise they're gonna demonetize you or take you off the platform. So yeah, I
So
totally
when
agree.
this gets released, this was recorded a Sunday. So if anything happens, hopefully will the Windy City production will be the first one to break that news. And for me, hopefully nothing happens until Friday night to when I get out of YouTube jail. So I'll be the first one to break it. But if anything happens while I'm in handcuffs in jail, you can go look to this guy because he'll be the first one to break it. And then I'll be the second one to break it when I get out if it happens. It's like I don't know if you have anything to say, to our peanut gallery, the audience that are watching this,
Yeah.
well, that will be watching this, the peanut gallery. Do you have anything to say to our peanut gallery?
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. You can follow me at the Windy City Productions on YouTube or DWC Prods on Twitter. Like you mentioned, like I post a lot of Bears news, a lot of Bears reactions and all. But yeah, man, thanks for having me on. This is a lot of fun.
It's been an honor. This is
Yeah,
the real tribal chief. Still not me. I'm the real tribal chief, but he's the real one. Because he has more subscribers. But that I'm still the tribal chief. But
appreciate
anyways,
you.
like, favorite, and subscribe. And I'm pretty sure the We See Productions will appreciate it. Or otherwise, hit the subscribe button. Otherwise, DJ Moore will light up your secondary. I'm gonna have to start doing that from now on.
Yeah, sounds good, man.
All right.
All right, dude. Take care.